Welcome Travelers with Tommy Bartlett. Travelers! Yes, Lava, L-A-V-A. Lava soap that gets grimy hands cleaner faster than ordinary soap ever can. And Joy, J-O-Y, Joy. Procter & Gamble's sensational liquid that makes dishes shine in half the time. Bring you Welcome Travelers with Tommy Bartlett. Transcribed in the College Inn Porterhouse of Hotel Sherman in Chicago, Welcome Travelers invites every traveler with an unusual story to share it with you. Our guests are going someplace for a reason. We speed them on their way with gifts, good wishes, and whenever we can, we'll lend a helping hand. Today, we'll meet
a Kansas grandmother who is called down for whispering in class.
A bridegroom who helped finance his marriage by selling potato peelers.
And two high school girls from New Mexico who learned about government from the president.
A former member of the New York Giants who made 50,000 friends because he couldn't hit. Now, here are Mr. and Mrs. Robert Bergheim to talk with Tommy Bartlett.
Well, thank you, Bob Cunningham. Thank you very much for this charming young couple.
Mr. and Mrs. Bergheim live in Boulder, Colorado, Tommy, and they're here on their honeymoon.
Well, hello, Mrs. Bergheim.
Hi, Tommy.
What's your first name?
Wilma.
Well, welcome, Wilma. And this is
Bob.
Well, hi, Bob, and welcome both to Welcome Travelers. Now, Wilma, how long have you been married?
We've been married about 41 and a half hours.
41 and a half hours of wedded bliss.
Just about, yes.
Well, you're both young-looking. Did you meet at school?
Yes, we did. We were in a play. I was cast into it, and they sort of dragged him in at the last minute.
Well, what was the name of the play?
It was The Doctor in Spite of Himself by Moliere.
The Doctor in Spite of Himself.
Uh-huh.
How did the courtship go?
Well, it was pretty much his Bob in spite of himself. He took a summer off to try to forget me, and I did the same last summer. I went to California to try to forget him. But it didn't work out that way.
Well, we hope it didn't work out that way. Here you are married. Are you both still in school?
No, Bob graduated with a music degree. I have another year. I'll have a theater arts degree next June.
And, Bob, what are you doing now? In music, of course.
No, I'm selling clothes for my father. He and I are in business. We have a men's clothing store.
Well, why didn't you follow a musical career?
Well, I like music very much, but I don't plan to starve in a garret writing symphonies for posterity. And
I sell suits for prosperity.
Exactly. And I thought that I would get a degree in music with a minor in business and sell the clothes and then write the music on the side.
So you're in business with Dad. Is that in Boulder?
Yes, it is.
Did you work and go to school at the same time?
Well, yes and no. I worked summers to make a little money to go to school in the winter.
What kind of work did you do?
Well, I think you're interested probably in the summer that I went out with the carnival and sold some potato peelers.
I think I could be very interested in that. How did that come about?
Well, I had worked up a little skit, a comedy skit of a medicine pitch, and gave it in one of the all-school shows at the university. And some pitchman was in the audience. Well, I shouldn't say pitchman. He's a college professor who goes out in the summer and sells potato peelers. And he thought that I perhaps would like to go with him the following summer. And I did.
So you did. I wonder if you could sell me a potato peeler. I need one.
Potato peeler? Oh, yes, I think I could do. Hey, looky. Now, just step in close, folks. I wouldn't want you to miss a thing. Get away from me, boy. You bother me. I have here a little handy-dandy, super-duper chrome-plated potato peeler and fingernail cleaner. Now, all you have to do, ladies and gentlemen, to peel the potato faster than you say shazafran backward, you just flip it end for end and give yourself a real professional manicure without leaving the kitchen sink. This little item is guaranteed not to rip, tear, crack, peel, chip, bend, split, unravel, run down, peel, suspect, break, or collapse. And is guaranteed for years, not for months, but forever.
Yeah, I'm going to really put you on the spot, Bob. How would you propose to your wife, pitchman style? Would you like to hear that? No. Maybe you'll have to think just a second here.
Let's see. Step right in here, lady. Just step in right close. I wouldn't want you to miss a thing I got to say. Get away from me, boys. You bother me. What do you do with all these men hanging around here, lady? Just step in close. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Let me see it. Just step in close. I'll tell you what I got to offer you. I got a little clothing store right down the street here. I got a little magic show. I think it's
Very fine, Bob. And the lady says, yes, I'll buy some of that.
I think so, yes.
Luncheon at Jacques' French Restaurant. This evening you'll enjoy dinner in the Marine Dining Room of the Edgewater Beach Hotel, dancing with the music of Ralph Flanagan's orchestra, and some wedding presents for you, Mrs. B, To make your kitchen a complete one, this complete Rival line, Rival Isomat, Canomat, Juiceomat, Knifomat, and the Rival Twin Cook Broilomat. And here is this big box of the new Spic and Span, America's famous once-over cleaner.
Here's another gift I know you'll both treasure for many years. This beautiful set of Easterling sterling silver in the American Classic design. Service for 6 with several extra pieces and an Easterling lifetime treasure chest. It's from the Easterling Company of Chicago.
And before you leave for the West, we'd like you to be welcome travelers' special guests for 4 glorious days at exquisite Oakton Manor in Pewaukee, Wisconsin. You'll enjoy the indoor swimming pool and fine home cooking and the famous Waukesha mineral and mud baths.
Smooth as mud.
You'll have a marvelous time at beautiful Oakton Manor, believe me.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks very much, very much.
And we know that your marriage is always going to be in tune.
Well, I trust so with all this music.
Go on now. And now, here's some good advice.
Girls, if you dread the weekly chore of scrubbing linoleum, listen to this faster, easier way to keep linoleum beautifully clean.
New Spic and Span cleans linoleum cleaner twice as fast, twice as easy as soap or newest detergents. There's no hard scrubbing, no rinsing, no wiping dry. With the new Spic and Span, it's just once over with a damp mop or cloth. Dirt's gone, and your floor dries instantly. That's right. Because of Spic and Span's amazing cleaning power, it's just once over and grease, sticky dirt, even stubborn heel marks vanish. The minute you're through, you can walk on your floor, wax it, or move furniture back. And listen, no soap, no leading cleaner is so mild to hands, yet cleans as efficiently as the new Spic and Span.
So stop doing back-breaking work when you clean your linoleum. Remember, the new Spic and Span cleans linoleum twice as fast, twice as easy as soap or newest detergents. With the new Spic and Span, it's just once over, dirt's gone, and your floor dries instantly.
Just once over, lightly, with new Spic and Span. No rinsing, no wiping. Once over, it's grand.
Attention! Welcome travelers bound for LaSalle Street Station. The Rock Island Line's Rocky Mountain Rocket for Denver, Colorado Springs. Board!
Tommy, our next traveler is this fine gentleman, a doctor who's on his way to New York City to attend a national medical convention. Dr. A.W. Graham of Chisolm, Minnesota.
Well, hi, Dr. Graham.
How do you do, Tommy?
And welcome to Welcome Travelers, sir. Doctor, just where in New York City is this medical convention being held?
On Lexington Avenue.
Lexington Avenue. Are you familiar with New York City?
Yes, sir.
When did you live in New York, Doctor?
1904 and 5.
1904 and 1905. Do you imagine New York has changed a little bit since then?
Quite a bit.
Where do you imagine the biggest change is, Doctor?
Right around Rockefeller Center. That's where I used to live and board at the cheap boarding house. And at that time, there was livery stable there and barber shops and so on.
Well, what were you doing in New York?
I went there to play baseball with the Giants under the famous John McGraw.
Well, he was one of the greatest, wasn't he?
One of the smartest ones in the world.
Well, what did John McGraw think of you as a baseball player?
Well, he said I had $1 million pair of legs and a 10-cent head.
Well, how was your fielding, Doctor?
Very good.
How was your hitting?
I hit the water bucket.
And how did you do with the New York Giants?
I ended up as a doctor.
Well, are there any ball players still in the major leagues who you want to look up on this trip?
Steve O'Neill, manager of the Philadelphia National League Club. I played with him in Scranton in 1903.
And now, Dr. Graham, how did you get from the New York Giants to Chisolm, Minnesota?
Well, I'd finished my internship, and I read an ad in the medical journal. They were looking for a doctor for a mining company, and I went out to Minnesota.
And how long have you been in Chisolm, sir?
47 years.
47 years. Where were you born and raised?
North Carolina, Charlotte.
Well, now there's another famous Graham from North Carolina. Isn't that true?
Yes, my brother Frank. He was senator for a while.
And now he's with the UN, isn't he? Well, we should be very proud of both of you fine gentlemen. Now, what's been most interesting part of your work as a doctor in Chisolm?
Well, after I quit the mining company, I went to work for the school part-time, and I also had an eye practice. But I'm very much interested in children's diseases and children.
Well, how many kids do you imagine you've examined in the last 35, 40 years?
Well, I took about 60,000 blood pressures, not that many children, but that many blood pressures. Been put into books, published in Europe and the United States.
Yes, Dr. Graham is noted in the medical profession as a keeper of records of well children instead of just sick children. What have you found out about well children, Doctor?
Well, I found out that they gained in weight and height over the children 25 and 30 years ago. They're taller, way more intelligent, and so on.
And have the children shown their appreciation of your work with them in any way, Doctor?
Yes, they dedicated the school annual 1951 to me.
And what does it say in the frontispiece of that school annual?
Well, they say that they consider me one of them.
Well, that's as nice a compliment as a group of youngsters could pay anybody, I'm sure. Now, wait a minute, Dr. Graham. We have some Welcome Travelers presents for you. First of all, here's a perfect addition to your wardrobe. 6 white Marlboro shirts from the Marlboro Shirt Company of Baltimore, Maryland.
Doctor, you're still a sports fan, so you can follow sports wherever you are with this new RCA Victor Super Personal Portable with a powerful RCA Victor miniature tubes and a new built-in aerial assuring fine performance. It's less than 6 inches high, but the RCA Victor Super Personal gives full room-size volume. And take these home with you. These 3 bars of lava soap. It's safe for tender skin.
And, Doctor, you're interested in football. We'd like you to go over to the All-Star Football Luncheon, where you're going to meet some of the great coaches and players in college and professional football. And are you planning to remain in Chicago for the game?
Yes, sir.
Well,
Seen most of the All-Star games so far.
Well, you're going to see the 1952 version, too, sir. Here are 2 tickets on the 50-yard line for the All-Star Football game. You're going to see the Los Angeles Rams versus the College All-Stars Friday, August the 15th at Soldier Field, and you're going to be the guest of Welcome Travelers and Arch Ward, sports editor of the Chicago Tribune, the man who conceived the All-Star Football game.
Thank you.
Well, you're very, very welcome, Dr. A.W. Graham from Chisolm, Minnesota. We'll be back in just a moment, but first, here's some news of the utmost importance to every parent.
Mothers, dirt danger days are here for your children. Yes, these are the days your children play outdoors so much, and when they come home, you'll never know what's hidden in the dirt on their hands. Don't take chances with your children's good health this summer. Health authorities agree that clean hands are healthy hands. So do this. Be sure your children give their hands a good scrub with lava soap after play and before meals. You see, lava soap is specially designed to get out dirt ordinary wash-ups often miss. Its rich lather contains thousands of invisible scrubbers that rout out dirt and grime ground in skin creases, around nails, in knuckles. In 30 to 50 seconds, even stubborn dirt's out, off, down the drain. Yet lava is safe for tender skin of women and youngsters. So during these dirt danger days, keep lava handy. It's particularly desirable for the lick and a promise washing most children give their hands. Remember, clean hands are healthy hands. And lava soap gets extra dirty hands cleaner, faster, easier than any toilet soap. Get lava today.
Tommy's 62-year-old Mrs. Mable Hoffman recently graduated from high school. She's now on a vacation. She's from Cunningham, Kansas.
Well, hi, Mrs. Hoffman.
Hi, Tommy.
And welcome to Welcome Travelers, Mrs. Hoffman. Mrs. Hoffman, just when did you get out of grade school?
1906.
And when did you start with high school?
1950.
Well, that means that you've been out of school just about how long? About 44 years?
About 44 years.
Well, what kept you from going to school right after grade school?
Well, my father had passed away about 2.5 years before, and there were younger children in the home, and it made it a hardship for my mother had I gone on.
And so you grew up and got married, right?
That's right.
Tell me about your family, Mrs. Hoffman.
Well, we had 5 boys and 1 girl, and my husband passed away in 1949.
Sorry to hear about that. Any grandchildren?
Well, I have 10 grandchildren.
10 grandchildren? Well, then you were a grandmother when you went back to school.
Yes.
Well, were any of your children able to help you with your homework?
Oh, no, they were all too busy with their own work. Look, Billy, I really had expected a little help from him. He was in junior college, but I think he kind of taken the attitude that most of us parents do when our youngsters start to high school. You can't teach them very much anyway.
So Billy suggested that to you?
Well, that's the attitude I gathered.
Say, what subject did you like best? I think since you're a high school student or just a new graduate, I can call you Mabel. Is that all right?
Sure, that's right.
Mabel, what subject did you like best?
Why, history and literature were my best subjects.
And what were your tough subjects?
Oh, typing and driving training.
Well, they taught you how to drive a car?
Yes, I really had learned to drive a car years before, but as the boys grew up, I had to take the back seat. Then when I started school and take this driver's training, I knew how to keep the car out of the ditch, but it was the textbook that got me drawing the diagrams of the engine, and I flunked one test.
Oh, I'm ashamed of you, Mabel.
I felt pretty bad about myself, but he let me take the test over.
Well, good for him. And who was your favorite teacher?
Well, I believe my favorite teacher was a girl that I had known since she was 2 years old.
How'd you get along with the youngsters in school?
Well, the first 2 or 3 days, they didn't hardly know what I was doing there. But when they found out that I was there to learn just like they were, and, we just got along fine. And just a few days, those that I hadn't known before I went to school was calling me Mabel.
And how did you do as far as grades are concerned?
B average.
You had a B average.
And the last semester, Tommy, I got the biggest thrill when I got on the honor roll.
Well, good for you, Mabel. Good for you. Now, who attended your graduation?
My 83-year-old mother, a brother and his wife, 3 of my children, a daughter-in-law and a son-in-law, and 7 of my 10 grandchildren.
I suppose when you misbehaved, your teacher called your mother in to complain.
Well, he didn't really, but he did call me down, but he didn't really know he was calling me down. I was, like some of the rest of them, we were talking, and he said, well, there's too much talking in the room. I want you to be quiet. And I really felt awful guilty.
He didn't sit you in the corner, though.
No, he really didn't.
Now, seriously, Mabel, I should say seriously, Mrs. Hoffman, what prompted you to return to school?
Well, I had regretted that I hadn't been able to finish high school, and it was back in the fall of 1950. My daughter and mother and I were sitting in the room when some of the children were going by to enroll, and I made the remark, I wish I was enrolling, but I didn't really mean it. And my daughter said, well, Mom, there's nothing in the world to keep you from going. And my mother began to foster, too, and I couldn't back out then. And my daughter says, well, I'll go with you, and we'll talk to the principal. I didn't think he'd really want me. And
what did he say?
Well, he said, well, there's nothing in the world to keep you from it. And I said, oh, won't the youngsters resent having an old grandmother in school? He said, well, no. He said, well, you're just as much right here as anyone. And by next Monday morning, I was up there like the rest of freshmen.
Did you go out for gym class?
No, I really didn't, Tom.
Well, did you go to the football games?
Well, we don't have football in our school, but we do have a wonderful basketball team, and I went to some of the basketball games.
Is that in the cheering section?
Sure.
Well, good for you.
Sold popcorn, too.
Is there one tip you'd care to give older persons thinking about going back to school?
Yes, Tommy, I would. Don't be discouraged and let anyone tell you that you're too old to learn. And this day and age, when people are getting wiser and so many new things coming up, I don't know of anything else that will change your attitude than going back into the schoolroom.
Sort of makes you feel a little younger, doesn't it?
Sure. My friends told me it's taken 10 years off of my life.
Well, probably off the teachers, too. Well, it's going to be lunch at Jimmy Stade's restaurant on Rush Street, and then a Gray Line sightseeing coach tour in a New Vision Airbus. And we have some high school graduation gifts for our 62-year-old grandmother. From the Comet Hosiery Mills, 1 dozen pairs of Comet sheer nylons and your choice of the newest fragrance tones, 3K Whitney Reliance frock style by the French designer Valerie Gallenberg, and this double strand of Marvella pearls with earrings and bracelets to match. Marvella, the loveliest pearls made by man. And to keep your lovely hair looking even lovelier, here are 2 tubes of Prel shampoo. New Prel leaves hair more radiantly alive.
And here's another graduation gift we feel is most appropriate, Mrs. Hoffman. It's an attractive, dependable Whitnauer watch, a distinguished member of the Longines Whitnauer family of fine watches.
Beautiful. Oh, Tommy, that's just beautiful. I don't know what to say.
Well, you're graduated and you have your watch, and
oh, that's grand.
You're 10 years younger. Who could ask for anything more? Go on, Mable Hoffman from Cunningham, Kansas. And now from the studio audience come 5 charming ladies to judge a shampoo radiance test.
Mrs. Amy O'Connell from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Mrs. Paula Huff from Baltimore, Maryland. Almeida M. Steer from St. Petersburg, Florida.
Mrs. Laverne Krecklow from Fort Campbell, Kentucky.
Mrs. Ann Williams, Elmhurst, Illinois.
Ladies, I think it's time you had some convincing evidence about shampoos. So we want you to judge this exciting test and give us your honest opinions. We say New Prel leaves hair more radiantly alive, actually more radiant than any leading cream or soap shampoo. So please gather around our lovely young model and
An excellent one test.